Shut up and sit down.
Oh, good.
I turned on the light, Cheryl. So night has fallen. I turned on the light. That's the secret.
There you go.
So Karen looks more clear, and Sarah sounds more clear because she has a sweet ass new headset.
Hello.
That sounded great.
Oh, welcome everybody. We tried to go live for a second and it didn't work, so that's why we're late, and not at all because I forgot to press broadcast. That's not why. Nope. Today we're going to be calling about two things. One, the DREAM Act, because DACA has been kicked to the curb despite the protestations of practically everybody in the United States. And two,
that does not have a cinder for a heart.
Right. Yes, a cinder. That's a good one. See, you do have the good words. And two, human trafficking, which we have a really good example today of a bill that sounds like a good idea and has the title to make you sound like you want to support it. But when you talk to somebody who is involved in this, it turns out it's not a good idea. But a layman like us would not necessarily spot that. So yeah, let's do this, ladies.
All right. Do you want to break us in with what you can do about DACA?
So I'll post this link actually that Karen sent me earlier in the chat for this this video. It's an article from Vox about some of the alternatives there are popping up now that DACA has been thrown away. The Bridge Act is the most conservative, so we're kind of not even mentioning that one today. We're just kind of, going to mention the DREAM Act, and then we're going to mention the RAC Act, which is slightly stricter than the DREAM Act. And I'll just read you what it says here on Vox. It would allow people who arrive in the U.S. before age 16 and who have been here for at least 5 years to apply for conditional permanent residency, which they could then, after 5 years, apply to turn into standard green cards and become citizens. The bill allows the government to kick people out of their legal status if they don't stay in school or stay employed. So it is stricter. You can't, if you lose your job, you better get one real quick. And because of it being stricter, it's attracting much more bipartisan support. And so this might be, if, for example, me calling my reps in Texas, this one will probably be a little bit more palatable for them to support than DREAM Act was.
Start by asking for them to support the DREAM Act,
mm-hmm.
and then say, or please at least support the RAC Act.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we just did our session on it. Sarah gave us all the info. You can listen to that episode or watch us. But if you haven't called yet, do.
Right.
It really matters.
Yeah, I think they straight up underestimated how mad people were going to be about this. And we're very happy to straighten them out on that. So Bring it on. And then the other bill that we're going to be talking about today, and I sent this all out in the email that, alerts everybody what's coming. If you haven't signed up for that already, please do. You can do it on the Facebook page, or you can do it on the website, thebroadcastpodcast.wordpress.com. And the first is the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act of 2017. It is U.S.
Sounds like a great bill.
Right. It's U.S. S1693. And the main text of the bill is a bill to amend the Communications Act of 1934 to clarify that Section 230 of that act does not prohibit the enforcement against providers and users of interactive computer services of federal and state and criminal and civil law related to sex trafficking. In other words, we can prosecute you and go after you if you are a website that is that has advertisements that turn out to be related to sex trafficking,
Right.
aka Backpage or Craigslist or any number of other kind of like, service sites that people use for all kinds of different things. And this, I think a lot of people on the surface would be like, well, yeah, that's messed up. They should be. But as it turns out, there was an interview, which you can read about on Techter, which I linked in the email, and I'll also post this on the website. And an expert was talking about how these places, Craigslist and Backpage, are actually like prime ground for the FBI and other activists to find victims and save them. Like, this is how they locate people, and how oftentimes they will like reunite people with their family when somebody disappears. So yeah, it says Section 230 actually sets a trap for traffickers. Lured by the prospect of reaching a large centralized repository of customers, traffickers end up revealing themselves to law enforcement and victim advocates. There's nothing to suggest that Backpage causes them to be victimized, but plenty of reason to believe that without it, they would be much harder to find. Section 230 allows Backpage to serve as a lifeline between trafficking victims and those who want to usher them to safety.
Right. So these websites aren't causing sex trafficking. Mm-hmm. Prostitution, as we know, predates the internet.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Right? So hiding trafficking does not stop trafficking. Just makes it harder to find. And if I may speak up for Section 2, go ahead, Cheryl.
I was just going to say, every time there's new technology, anybody who wants to do something bad like this can figure out how to use it. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. It's not the technology. It's the intent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if I can stand up for Section 230 for a moment. So that says that websites are not liable for the content that is posted on them, as long as when they are alerted that that content is illegal or infringing, they take it back down. So that's how YouTube can exist. But if you complain to Google that somebody stole your song, then they take it down. Or that a video is a snuff film, then they'll take it down, right? So as long as they react and they take stuff down, then they have what's called safe harbor. And that allows the internet to function. Because if they didn't have safe harbor, they couldn't let anyone put anything up. So there would be no Facebook, there would be no Craigslist, there would be no place where you could upload something or say something if they were liable for what you said. Mm-hmm. So that's Section 230, and that has allowed us to have a free and open internet where everyone can say whatever. But if bad content is found, and you report it, then it needs to be taken down. That's the situation now. Now, some sites proactively police content, right? Like Facebook tries to take down nudity, right? Like lots of sites try to take down stuff that's offensive or illegal or proactively without getting it reported first. And there was a lawsuit that said because they do that, they're curating and then they're liable for everything on their site. But that lawsuit was unsuccessful. And so it's been established that just because you curate doesn't make you liable, right? Which is great. So they can continue to even curate a little bit, try to reduce how much offensive material there is, but without being responsible. Because the person who does the illegal thing or says the offensive thing is the person responsible, not Google, not Twitter. It's not the phone company's fault if somebody plans a crime using the phone over the phone, right? All right. So this takes that out, carves that out, and says, if it's anything to do with sex trafficking, not only are you liable, you're criminally liable for any of that. And it doesn't specify advertisements advertising sex acts. It says any material support. So it's completely vague. Mm-hmm. So a state could come in and say, well, we think that means you have to register all your users. You can't have anonymous users anymore, or else you're enabling sex trafficking, right? It's completely wide open. So essentially would gut Section 230, which we need very much if we want free speech to continue on the internet. So in addition to not helping sex trafficking victims, in fact, making it harder to find and prosecute sex traffickers, it also does grievous harm to the internet. So great name for a bill. But that's all it's got going for it.
And we decided that since that's a bill that we don't support, we needed an example of something that we did support. Yes. So the one that we have chosen this time is USS 256 SOAR. the Health and Wellness Act of 2017. And SOAR is a bill that would help train healthcare professionals to spot the signs of human trafficking. And it's a kind of shockingly high percentage. 88% of human trafficking victims have reported being exposed at one time or another to healthcare professionals. But because like 95% of them have not received any training on what to look for, they were just handed right back to their abusers, and nobody had any idea what was going on. So that is a crazy high percentage of chances for them to have been rescued that just because of lack of education were completely squandered. So this bill would
a little bit about who all we could train.
What's that?
I think Sarah looked into this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know, Sarah?
Yeah, so there's a lot of professionals that work in kind of high probability of exposure jobs. And a lot of these are things that we think about, but not necessarily register. So like the hospitality industry, like obviously a lot of sex trafficking happens within motels and hotels. So having people trained there to, know what to do, to know the right protocols, to keep them safe and the people that they're trying to rescue safe is an important thing. And then law enforcement, obviously, first responders, again, hospital staff, people who are getting repeat exposure to medical professionals, and then also in schools. And so like a lot of young people who are engaged in sex trafficking do go to school. And, they're not just sitting in a dark dungeon. They're living normal lives, and like it's part of their life, and a little bit more on the surface than a lot of us think. It's not always in alleyways or rundown motels. It's a lot more in the surface of everything. And so there's, different ways to train teachers that if students are starting to act a little differently or talk about a much older partner or have anxiety or fear or malnourishment or appears to be intoxicated and, other warning signs like that, or warning signs in general, but also pertain specifically to issues with sex trafficking. And then finally, with airplane attendants and pilots, it's super important because that's how a lot of people get from different countries to here. And we're all very familiar with the Super Bowl and all of those stories that have happened, and flight attendants sensing something was wrong and doing action. But it's just really important, again, that it's handled correctly and safely for the person they're trying to save and the flight attendant, especially in situations like on an airplane. And so the FAA in 2016 expanded their Safety and Security Act to implement training of flight attendants to spot potential trafficking victims. And there's a really awesome organization called Airline Ambassador that does all these trainings and helps them understand, not to engage, to inform the pilot. The pilot will inform the place they're going, and police officers will meet the plane, and, to keep everyone safe. And then there's also a whole bunch of different training videos out there that you can look at online that are from the DHS or the HHS. And if you Google them, you can look at them for free and educate yourself, even, if you just want to do that and that's not part of your job, just to be a better human.
It's really reassuring to think that the FAA is all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the last time I flew, actually, in the bathroom on the back of the stall, so like inside the bathroom, there was a sign that said, "Are you a victim of sex trafficking or arranged marriage? If so, text here and tell them you're in the blue bathroom and we'll come get you." And I thought, that's smart, because that is someplace that they might be alone. They might be able to do something.
Well, one of the women who got really famous being a flight attendant left a note in the restroom and asked the woman if she was okay, and then she said, "Please help me." But how are they going to get the text message to somebody if they're on an airplane?
I don't know. They could maybe use, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something like having code words and stuff, because there was a bar for a while that had a sign up that was like, "Hey, are you on a weird, creepy date with somebody that's making you really nervous? Go up to the bar and ask for an Angela shot."
Yeah.
and we will make sure that you are okay and get rid of the person. And that I think would be a good tactic also, just being like, hey, ask a stewardess for this weird drink name, you know? And they would not have any idea. There's all kinds of ways to sort of signal, I think, if we wanted to try. So it's just something that we have to acknowledge is happening.
Right. So we like this idea of training healthcare. So this is a pilot to get healthcare people trained up.
Mm-hmm.
And we like it. So because we're not a bunch of bitches and we don't just complain.
Nah. Well, listen, speak for yourself, sister.
We're going to complain a little, and then we're going to be boosters for this other bill. So these are both Senate bills, so I was going to call my senator.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the program. Who wants to call first?
I will call mine first, since for a change, John Cornyn is actually supporting both trafficking bills because he probably just doesn't realize. But, you know, it's the first time that I think the second time that I actually agree with one of my senators on something. So that's nice. That's always nice when that happens.
You agree with your senator that moms are important.
Yeah, we all like moms, right? We remember that day really, really well because it just doesn't happen. All right, so let's go 224.
This is Senator John Cornyn. Thanks for calling my Washington, D.C. office. For general information regarding my office locations and operating hours, please press 1. To leave a comment regarding current issues of interest, please press 2. If you'd like to speak directly with a member of my staff, please press 3. To hear this message again.
Ted Cruz doesn't have a please press 3.
You sure don't.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, we're on lunch.
My Washington, D.C. office is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. If you're calling
Should I
for
try
assistance with
the
a passport or a
Dallas
federal
number?
agency, please call my Dallas office at 972-239.
Listen, the man told me to call his Dallas office. Who am I to?
That there's a high volume of calls today.
That's true.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get through. But I would be disappointed.
Thank you for calling the Dallas office of United States Senator John Cornyn. Our business hours are Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you are calling during these hours, please note that all lines are currently busy and your call will be returned in the order received. Please feel free to submit questions by fax to 972-239-2110. If you are calling for assistance with a federal agency or with your passport, please visit the services section of the Senator's website, www.cornyn.senate.gov, to fill out a privacy form. If you would like to leave a comment for the Senator, please include your zip code. Thank you and have a nice day.
Hi, my name is Natasha Kingston. I am calling from Denison, Texas, zip code 75020. I'm calling on two issues. First, I really urge the senator to support the DREAM Act, and failing that, to support the RAC Act, which is HR 1468, Recognizing America's Children Act. And my primary reason for calling is I'm calling to actually thank Senator Cornyn for his stance against human trafficking in sponsoring USS 256, the SOAR Act, which would train healthcare workers to spot victims of human trafficking. I think this kind of training is crucial to ensuring that victims are not handed back to their abusers. And since 88% of victims of human trafficking report being seen at some point by a healthcare professional, it could be extremely effective. However, I would also urge Senator Cornyn to take a second look at SESTA, Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act of 2017, which he is also sponsoring. Activists in the sphere of rescuing trafficking victims agree that this act, while on the surface a helpful measure, would actually make it more difficult to find and save victims. Websites like Craigslist and Backpage aren't the problem, and in fact are one of the biggest sources of intel when it comes to detecting trafficking rings, and the FBI itself uses this method. I know Senator Cornyn wants to do all he can, and I applaud his sponsorship of SOAR. Please ask him to take another look at SESTA and talk to some experts before following through. Thank you so much. And my number is 203-809-0732.
Nice.
All right.
Really nice. That'll work. That'll totally work.
I wanted to talk to a person, but what you gonna do?
I wanted you to talk to a person too. All right.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go.
Cheryl's up.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I have Representative McCaskill's information in my phone.
Yay!
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. All right.
Look, he's a little activist now.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, and I'm close to my screen again. I like to do that.
Senator McCaskill's office, how may I help you?
Hi there. I'm calling to express an opinion. Can I share that with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I get your zip code?
Yes, my zip code is 63126. I'm in St. Louis.
Okay. And what can I do for you?
And my name is Cheryl Pryor. Okay. I'm calling to talk about legislation about sex trafficking. And there's two bills in particular. So the first one is SESTA, which is the Senate Bill 1693. I understand that Representative McCaskill is a sponsor of that bill. And I'm actually concerned about that one. Don't get me wrong. Sex trafficking is really, really bad. And I think we can all get behind that. As bad as it is, I don't think that there's any simple silver bullet solutions, because the guys who are doing it are always going to figure out new ways or workarounds to accomplish their goals. My concern with this is that it can break aspects of the internet, and it can also affect people like the FBI's ability to track down and route out sex traffickers. So I'm very concerned about that. And on the flip side, I would ask that Senator McCaskill really take a look at legislation that affects education related to sex trafficking. For example, SOAR, which I believe is Senate Bill number 256, which is focused on training healthcare workers to recognize the signs of sex trafficking and help folks that are being trafficked to get out.
Okay, so you want her to look further into Senate Bill 296 and draw her support from Senate Bill 1693?
Yes, and the first SOAR is 256, I believe.
256.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. That makes more sense.
Thank you. And again, sex trafficking, really, really bad, but don't want to break the internet. And I do want to thank Senator McCaskill for her stance on DACA, on the DREAM Act, and I hope that she will continue to support it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I'll be sure to relay your concerns.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
You sound so confident and authoritative. It makes me want to do what you say.
Yay. That was fun.
That sounded like the legit, we're going to listen to you.
Yeah, it did.
All right, so Sarah and I are going to do our traditional 1-2 punch on the Colorado senators.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and call Bennett the Democrat. And then Sarah's going to get her attitude on.
Me? What? Never.
What?
I can't believe you got through to somebody, Cheryl.
Yeah, I like her.
Thank you for calling Senator Michael Bennett's office. We are currently on the phone with other Coloradans
or the office is closed. Regular office.
Or alternatively, we just don't care. They need to be 24/7 with all this stuff going on.
Well, both of our senators sponsored the DREAM Act.
That's true. I should start with that, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to start with that. And a shout out to the Pollmeister.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling Senator Michael Bennett's office. We are currently on the phone with other Coloradans, or the office is closed. Regular office
It's the same
hours,
message.
9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Please try back again or leave a message at the tone. If you need immediate assistance during office hours, the Denver office can be reached at 866-455-9866.
No, it can't.
Also contact us on our website, www.bennett.senate.gov.
Rhymey.
Hi, I'm a voter from Denver. My name is Karen Suhaka, and my zip code is 80203. I was calling to thank Senator Bennett for supporting the DREAM Act. I appreciate that very much. But I am calling about sex trafficking today. So Senate Bill 1693, Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act. Although the goal of increasing options for enforcing laws against trafficking is laudable, this bill is the wrong way to go about it. By making websites criminally liable for the acts of third parties, the negative consequences will far outweigh any gains. Sites will be much more likely to take down content or even not allow it in the first place, chilling free speech and driving bad actors back into the shadows. I think hiding trafficking doesn't stop trafficking. Our resources need to stay focused on stopping bad guys, not wasting time shutting down social media and other websites like Backpage. Section 230 of the CDA has been fundamental in allowing a free and open internet, and carving out this exception will hurt the internet without actually helping victims. So I hope that you will not support this bill and will vote against it. Instead, I would ask you to support Senate Bill 256, the SOAR to Health and Wellness Training Act, training health providers to identify and help victims of trafficking. 88% of sex trafficking survivors report having contact with a healthcare provider while being trafficked. So training healthcare community is a simple way to immediately start helping vulnerable people without any collateral damage. So if you want to act to stop trafficking, and I hope you do, please help SOAR get to the floor for a vote. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yay!
Yeah, it's not as
Thank you.
It's really nice when someone reads back to you what you said. Oh well.
Yeah, it can be a little tough just leaving messages.
We can't all have a efficient lady senator, can we?
She is efficient.
Well, one, I want to give a shout out to Polis because he commented in my little town's Facebook group because they're having a DACA protest, and he said that he was going to try to come, and I just love him, and he's amazing, and will always be the number one homie, the Pollmeister. Now,
he follows me on Twitter.
Some of my friends are friends with him on Facebook, and I was like, could I friend him? I met him one time and taught him how to fly a drone. Does he remember? Possibly. Flying drones are pretty memorable experiences, guys. All right, well, I'm going to call Cory Gardner, who's in my phone. Yeah.
Nice.
Also, excellent activism.
It's two.
Wow, straight up busy signal.
That's kind of great. I know it's super frustrating, but at least that is a straight up, no, people are calling.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, all you MVPs out there.
Yeah. I trust it's because we've inspired so many people. The phones can't handle it.
Hi, this is United States Senator Cory Gardner, your senator from the great state of Colorado. Thanks for calling my office. Please feel free to leave a message.
Hello, my name is Sarah Johnson, and I am a voter from 80435. And I'm calling about a couple issues today. One is I want to thank Senator Gardner for co-sponsoring the DREAM Act, as this is very important. And getting rid of DACA is not where we should be spending our time, resources, or energy. Where we should be spending it is somewhere like sex trafficking, which is the other issue I'm talking about today. I would first like to ask Senator Gardner to oppose U.S. S. 1693, the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act of 2017. Although the title of the bill is great and something that we should all aim to do, this bill does not go about stopping sex trafficking in a positive or good way for society by leading websites to be liable. That will make them shut down, which will limit our freedom on the internet. And there's also a lot of research supporting that website like these lead to traffickers being apprehended and are a great means of apprehension. So please oppose that bill. And then I would like to ask you to support U.S.S. 256, or the SOAR Act. This act, I think, is incredibly important because it is helping health professionals identify issues with trafficking victims in the moment and help them get the help that they need. I would hope that any bill that is like this for any type of profession that has a higher probability of being in the premises of people experiencing sex trafficking will be sponsored and supported by you, including any bills having to do with flight attendants,
seconds of recording time left.
teachers, and everybody else. Thanks. Bye.
Wow.
That was just so pushy. God damn. All right. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Wow.
Well, I was
Just
nicer
your
today.
contrasts today.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody, so much. I
See
think
you
this
next
went quite well.
Yeah.
And sign up for our emails so that you know what we're calling about. Follow us on Facebook and
Subscribe to the podcast.
subscribe to the podcast where we're posting the audio of this.
I have a
And
weird headset on just for you podcast listeners right now.
yeah, guys, can you tell how great Sarah sounds? She sounds amazing.
La 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 la
I take it back. Forget it.
la.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye. See you next week.